guys, Ride here, and I'm joined with Ross. Thanks, Ross, for talking with us today. What else is coming out? You got anything inside stuff that's coming out in Mahlkonig, new future ranges?
Well, probably the one that everybody's talking about right now is the E80 grind by weight.
I love this one.
A lot of people are familiar with grind by weight technology, and I think we already know that we've seen this with the E65S grind by weight, and right now we're really pleased to present the E80 grind by weight, which gives us high speed, high volume coffee grinding without a compromise on an 80mm set of burrs. And for me personally, this is my favourite coffee for espresso. I have never been more happy with drinking coffee from an espresso grinder from a set of E80 burrs here. But what you get with grind by weight is a few other little features that I guess mean different things to different people. Great feature is the distance detection, which gives you an actual numerical value for the distance between the burrs. Why is that good? Well, for some people who've got lots of different stores, right, they can allow each other to have exactly the same grind at each store. Now, this grinder here is telling us to move to the left to get to our target grind. So even if someone's moved the grinder, if you've saved the distance where you want to be, it will then move, and when you get it right to where you want to be, now we're on the right grind. So that's a really great aspect. It can be saved into a recipe. Right? And then we come to the grind by weight technology. Weighing over 600 times per second. This load cell here is part of the portafilter holder. So that's floating on this load cell here, right? So what happens when you engage the grinder is, if we were to get a portafilter, if you want me to, what this grinder can do is not only weigh coffee as it's grinding, but it can also recognize this portafilter by its unique weight. So when we go into a recipe or we move through, we can move to portafilter detection, right? We can put this on there and it can recognize this portafilter, right? Then from there, we can move back to our particular grind. So we say we want 18 grams of coffee. Then when we put the portafilter on there, if we were to have, say, a handle that we use for a 12-ounce coffee or an 8-ounce coffee or a single origin, the grinder's then able to quickly, within half a second, identify the handle by its unique weight.
Wow.
Then be able to once it's done that, it hasn't got coffee in it now, so it'll grind. But from its weight, that essentially names that handle. It then goes, that wants 18 grams. So even if you've got 3 different types of weights for your brew ratios, the grinder will automatically know what you need to do, and it's essentially hands-free grinding. Now, that's tremendous for the really busy professional, but where we're really finding a lot of extra benefit in this is that we're all in COVID, right? So how many people could go to a training school? How many businesses, have got new staff rolling in the door or rolling out the door? So the technology's really come into its own because of its reliability, the accuracy of it. Most of the time, I would consider this to be, I'm going to say, I'll say 0.2 of a gram, but look here at the show and what everybody else is giving us the feedback, it's even better than that. It's almost exactly where it is, or it's 0.1 of a gram. So from that sort of point of view, the accuracy is there, the ease of use. We've got a way to identify our grind setting. You can save that against a recipe. The grinder knows which handle does what. And so, we could give this to mum, dad, grandma, grandpa, your crazy uncle, right? And all of them, right, could walk up to this grinder, put in the handle, and it will grind coffee as if you go back to the Formula One driver. So from that sort of point of view, it's really exciting, right? And so for us, then in this Australian market, and I think where the E80 becomes really exciting, is that this grinder really is the fastest grinder in its class. To do 21 grams for a dose, you can expect to get this tared, identify the handle, weigh the coffee, finish in probably 3.7, 3.8 seconds. So for some people as well, they'll be in busy drive-throughs. We're working with some, large businesses in Australia that speed is important because Australian consumers,
impatient.
Like no compromise on grind quality. The assistance to make life easier for those hospitality challenges in terms of education and sharing knowledge. And at the end of the day, you're still getting great coffee.
That is brilliant because, I know from my espresso bar, every single handle on my machine is a different weight.
Yep.
So tearing it on your scales and then putting it into your grinder and then waiting and then waiting 7 seconds for it to grind.
Yeah.
It really slows down the entire workflow. And I noticed already this detected that, we need to set the grind setting to 70 mil
Yep.
because it's a different recipe, it's a different handle, and we need to do that. And that was brilliant. So I love that tech. And obviously you get the same quality consistency that Mahlkonig has always had. Are we going to see this in some home feature machines down the track? Is this sort of technology coming down the track?
Well, look, I think if the consumers really demand it, of course we're going to listen to the market, because that's what Mahlkonig does. It's what Hemro does.
Yeah.
So really a lot of our products come from what is the market saying and what do they want. We've also got to be really conscious of price, and that's why we create options without compromise, but we can deliver a grinder that does a brilliant job under $1,000. So with something like grind by weight, if that's going to trickle down to the domestic market, we've got to make sure that what we do is we've got to make it affordable still for people and achievable, because that's really important, right? Because people have lives and everything else, but also, hey, sometimes we just drop all of our dough on the coffee grinder.
Let's face it, we always do.
But we want to experience the least amount of regret in our customers for those wonderful purchases that, like I said, might create some domestic disturbance between our partners or the share house. This is mine, not yours to use. But look,
that's great.
All jokes aside, we would love to see something like that happening in the home market, but these products take a little bit of time because we like to make them perfect.
And we appreciate that. I also noticed there's a little temperature gauge there. So does that help with, like, say, humid, or like just getting you to understand, okay, maybe we're on a really hot day, so we need to be aware that, okay, the grind setting's going to, is that what it's there for?
So basically this is measuring the ambient temperature of inside the chamber.
Okay.
So we get a reflection of how hot it is inside there.
Right.
And just to that point of high volume, okay, so I've run this grinder with our distributors, done 121 gram shots back to back in just over 12 minutes. So that's
a lot.
A lot. We weren't able to get this grinder temperature to go beyond 49 degrees.
Right.
Okay. So people often say, well, is it the fans? Is it everything else? Now, we'll go back. We chatted about a motor and how important motors are. So it's a little bit of everything, because it really takes, I guess, a lot of technology and a lot of understanding of the entire grinder system and how it works. But cutting to the chase, the grinder has a motor that is so powerful in conjunction with an 80mm burr set that, as we know, it works so quickly to produce, up to 6 grams per second, that this grinder doesn't actually run for that long to produce your coffee, which then means that it's turned off and it's immediately cooling with the fan system that operates throughout this, right, to maintain the temperature. But if your grinder works for 8, 9, 10, 11 seconds, that's your motor running for such a longer time, which then really cancels out your ability to cool the grinder. So the beauty of this is that its productivity aids in the heat management, because it simply doesn't operate for that long.
Wonderful, that is fantastic. Yeah, thank you so much for talking with us. And as you can see there, Mahlkonig's producing some amazing quality, not only quality, but amazing technology as well. And if you're looking for any commercial grinders in your high, fast-paced cafe, then definitely check out Mahlkonig's range, and you'll be very, very pleased with the E80s GBW. I think it's going to be a winner on the market. I'm Ryan, your coffee coach, and as always, enjoy your brew.